Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? That's how every person who gets on a witness box, that's the swear they have to do. And I should know, because I am a municipal employee. And if you work for the city government, probably the same with the state government, as soon as you're in a jury pool and they hear you work for the government, they want you. They want you very, very badly. I don't know why it is that government people are so lucky, but we always, always serve on juries. Now, the sad truth is that I love being on a jury. I love it. I love, like, sitting there listening to the whole story and everything. So, you know, when they told me that, obviously, the last time I was called was 3 years ago, that I was going to be on the jury, I wasn't surprised. And I thought, oh, this will be good. And then they gave me the clunker. Oh, by the way, this case is going to last 3 months. Are you still in? Oh, we don't need to know from you, government employee. You're definitely in. Anyone else? So, the other kind of people who end up stuck on a 3-month jury, pregnant woman, unemployed guy, retired teacher, those are the people. Oh, and don't forget, alcoholic dude who his girlfriend pays for everything that he does, and I am, of course, in love with him. Don't forget him. I only found that out because, you know, when you're on a jury with other people for like 3 months, you really get to know them. And because you spend every day together, and you can't talk about the one thing you're doing, which is being a jury on a case. You're all listening to it every day, So, anyway, our case was about mesothelioma. You've probably seen it on the TV at night. If you're suffering from mesothelioma, call our law office. And I was on one of those cases. I was apparently on a really big case since it lasted 3 months. I know it's a really big case because the guy, we'll call him Mr. Melcher, not his real name. I hope that's okay. It's not true. Not his real name. Was suing 47 companies for his mesothelioma, none of who actually were asbestos companies, because all those people were apparently already sued into oblivion. So he was now like kind of resorting to, like, you know, this microphone maker, it said that you're supposed to put asbestos on it, I'm going to sue the microphone guy. But it doesn't matter, because out of the 47 companies, before we even got to trial, I think 32 had already settled out of court. So there were only 33 lawyers left in our courtroom. 33 of all the jury, we all counted them up as they would. Every time it was, you know, can we approach the stand, they would all trump up there, you know, all 33. They'll be listening to the juror, they're listening to the judge, it was really weird. But anyway, I didn't get to know very much about the Melchers, who were the people who were, you know, bringing suit against all these people. Though I did court see they were husband and wife, and the husband had cancer. It was horrible. It's a horrible way to die. But anyway, she was sitting outside, smoking a cigarette outside of court, and that's where I saw her. I thought, there's a supportive spouse. So anyway, so after 2.5 months of testimony, we finally get to the part where they've got the wife on the stand. And this is horrible. I mean, you know, people shouldn't have to go through this kind of thing. It's horrible. And the woman's up on the stand. They're saying, oh, you know, are you going to miss your husband when he's dead? Which just seems kind of like an obvious question to me. After 2.5 months of listening to testimony from every guy who's ever known anything about asbestos. And she's saying, yes, I'm going to miss him. And then for some reason, the guy says, and do you smoke cigarettes? And she says, I quit smoking cigarettes in 1981, and I've never smoked since. And I think, they give you this little pad to write your notes on when you're in a jury. And my pad at that point, you know, you have to remember all the things happened in the case, and I just write, you liar, you liar, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you're lying! But I can't say anything because I'm in court, so I go back to the jury room, and everyone else is like, well, what are you going to have for lunch? And I'm like, so I don't know what to do, so I go home, and I call a friend who's a lawyer, and she says, you have to call, you have to call, you have to go in and talk to the judge, you have to go in and talk to the judge, so what you have to do, and you're probably going to get thrown off the case. I'm like, no, I can't get thrown off the case, I've had 9 weeks of this, I can't, it's like watching a TV show and then being like, no, you can't watch that last episode of Dexter, forget it, I don't know, who knows what'll happen. But anyway, I ended up I had to go in the next day. I talked to the bailiff. I said, excuse me, I have a thing. I have to talk to the judge. She says, don't tell me why you're here to talk to the judge. I was going to bring you to the judge. So I go to the judge, and I sit in a room with the judge, 33 lawyers, me, and the Melchers, and the judge says, I'm going to need you to read into testimony the thing you just told me. And I'm like, well, she said that she hadn't smoked since 1981, but I saw her smoking outside. And with that, all of the guys who were the defending attorneys, the smiles. I don't even know what happened after that. I couldn't talk to anybody else who was on the jury. They literally, the bailiff went and got my stuff from the room, and I had to go home, and I couldn't talk to anybody. And I only later found out that indeed the companies that were able to weather all of that testimony actually were let off. They weren't responsible, but I was thrown out of the jury at the end. So, but anyway, all's fair in love and war, and indeed, although I told the truth and they did not tell the truth, at the end of the day, justice was served, and people who stayed in got off. So, because we weren't guilty.